What is up, everyone? It is Monday. We've got another Monday metagame update, and you won't want to miss this, especially if you're a Timeless fan. Uh, we got some pretty sweet stuff, so let's get into it. Alrighty, so we're gonna go through everything. I'm gonna kind of not go into as much detail on the formats, which are pretty stagnant and are gonna be stagnant for a while. So standard, for now until the next that comes out, the Ravnica set in the Karlov's Banner. Until that one comes out, standard is pretty much solved. Not much to talk about, so we're just gonna kind of skip through that going forward. And we'll show it briefly, but we're not going to really discuss it. And then for now, same for alchemy. So really, timeless is the only format that is changing at the moment. But we'll still show the decks of the week, so to speak. So yeah, let's get into it. So standard, still, yeah, as I mentioned, nothing has changed. This format is solved at the moment. Of course, you can play your pet decks, but they're still basically solved. We've got all the aggro decks doing very well, white, red, and Boros. And the Azorius control is decent, not great, but decent. And there's a few others that you can play, like enchantments and things like that. So that's standard best of one. Not the funnest format right now, unless you're a big aggro fan. And then you love aggro mirrors, because that's what you're going to be playing. All right, best of three. For this week, Mono Red is in the lead, but it's really anyone's game between Mono Red, the Domain deck, and Esper midrange, and then some random selection of aggro decks, so Azorius or Boros. Both of those do pretty well. So yeah, it's really Mono Red, Domain, Esper, and aggro. Those are kind of the four decks in standard best of three that are doing well. All right, alchemy. Alchemy did have quite a bit going on for it in the last Monday metagame update, so you might want to check that out, see some of the interesting decks. But Pirates somehow is doing well, even though it's not a standard deck. It's doing well in alchemy. So we've got a few extra pirates in alchemy, which kind of make it work. And then red, of course, always good in every format, just burning the opponent. Even in this one, it's good. There's Gruul, and we can go ahead and look at a little bit more data from different formats. Legends still pretty decent. Orzhov still pretty decent. The Orzhov Doll Maker deck. And dinosaurs, yeah, and fairies, those were both doing okay in the past few weeks. So still good if you like alchemy. But pirates seems to be taking off, so that's pretty cool, to be honest. All right, historic, nothing's changed. There's been no new cards, so of course it's still going to be the same. Dimir Ninjas, Dredge, Mono Red, Geist. This is the other one that does pretty good. Elves, not really that good. It's doing good for this week, but Elves is not really that good of a deck. All right, and then Timeless, the newest format, the one that has all the new cards, from Khans of Tarkir. And so for this week, we see that in best of one, Rakdos Breach is doing very, very well. Underworld Breach, a very powerful card, and everything in this format costs 1 mana, so you can easily like play a bunch of cards. Dark Ritual also gives you 3 mana for 1 mana, so very powerful with the Underworld Breach. And Stitcher and Underworld kind of make a combo, so works out pretty powerfully. If you can counter the breach, you can usually win this matchup if you're playing some control deck. So just a heads up for that one. Dimir Dredge. This is pretty tricky matchup depending on what your deck is. Once they kind of get rolling, then you can't really stop them. So you really have to stop the early mill cards to try to either have to outrace them, which is very hard to do, or somehow stop their mill, either with Thoughtseize or counterspells or something like that. So very tricky. A deck is very hard to deal with. And then Burn doing well. Grixis Shadow doing okay. I would probably say not good. And the other decks also not really that good. Domain Zoo, not that good. So yeah, really, I think really these two are the toughest decks. Burn also pretty respectable, but these two are the toughest decks. And as you'll see later, there's another sleeper deck, the one that I'm playing, made by Mistman, and it's a control deck that is very, very good in Timeless, which I am loving. And there's probably a few other versions of the deck that you could do. Maybe with Narset. I do really love me some Narset, so I'll have to think about that. All right, Timeless best of 3. I just want to show you that there's a few other decks that do much better in best of 3. One of them is the 5-color Zoo deck. Uses, like I think I mentioned it last week, but Wild Noctowl, we've got the Territorial Kavu, and Tribal Flames, a removal spell. So all of these things benefit from the fact that fetch lands gets you domain very easily in Timeless. And then some people are playing this Jund mid-range deck. I don't really find it to be that difficult to beat. But it's basically just playing all the broken cards, Ragavan, Lightning Bolt, Deathrite Shaman, and of course, Bowmasters. So yeah, those are very respectable. I think Breach and this mono black control deck are both pretty good. A little bit scary for me, to be honest. Oh, here's Dimir Control. So there you go. You see 58% win rate overall. Probably because like scrubs like me are playing it and not doing as well as Mistman, but yeah, it's a very good deck nonetheless. And there's a lot to learn on this deck, like how to use your fetch lands and shuffles and things like that to the most effect that you can. And also a lot of people, yeah, are playing this Field of the Dead deck with Natural Order and Titan, the Green Titan card. And it doesn't do well against control, you just counter everything. But if they can get their Field of the Dead down and you don't win fast enough, you can still lose. But overall, I find the deck to not be that scary. But it's still got a respectable win rate here, as you can see. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on in Timeless right now. So let's move on to the tournaments. Most of them are Timeless right now. Shocker. I think the next set is going to come out pretty soon. What is it, February? I'll have to double check on the date for the next video, but I know that it is coming up pretty soon, so that will give us something in standard at least. I don't know if it'll change standard at all, but yeah, we'll have to see. All right, so moving on to the tournaments, we've got this standard challenge from Robert Taylor, and first through fourth place. First one is Poison deck, green-white Poison deck, still around, still hanging in there, still stealing some games every once in a while. Looks like second place also Poison deck. Third place is the Rakdos Reanimator, I guess you can call it. Rakdos Reanimator. Kind of like Rakdos mid-range, but it's got a little bit of reanimation stuff going on, and Discover. So yeah, that one's pretty cool. I do think it's good. I think I mentioned previously a couple videos ago that definitely a little bit trickier to pilot than you would expect. And there is a degree of luck because you're working with Discover, but basically anything your Discover hits in the deck is pretty good, for maybe like Cut Down or something like that. But yeah, that's pretty good. The deck is pretty good, and it got third place. Fourth place is the Domain deck that's been around forever, and everybody knows, and it's still pretty strong. So that's why we need a rotation to get rid of some of these cards and these decks. Hopefully something will change, but I have my doubts. All right, next tournament we got this RCQ SCG Cincinnati tournament. These both got 5-0 in standard. This is a domain ramp deck again, so nothing too special there. And then Ozorus mid-range, that's a little bit more interesting. Warden of Inner Sky, Spyglass Siren, Denick, Malcolm, Dusk Legion Duelist is interesting. And then of course the Schooner and the Tidebinder, both very solid cards. So Not surprised to see this, but it is a deck that I would say is not that popular despite it doing pretty well. And you don't really see it that much on the ladder, even though it's quite a good deck. So yeah, props to them, both getting 5-0. So next one we have the Timeless Creator Clash tournament, which was this last weekend. You should check it out if you haven't. Um, the standings here are not quite accurate, so we're just gonna talk about what they posted on Twitter. But if you are interested, you can see all the deck lists here from the different streamers, 16 streamers, 16 different decks, and all of them very cool, very interesting decks, and quite competitive. So you can check them out and see what got played and see which ones you like. But I will mention the winner. The winner is Mistman. Mistman getting first place, and Arnie. I always forget how to say last name. Hushenbaum, I believe it is. Hushenbeth. Okay. So Arnie getting second place. He's a pro player. Mistman is also a known, very good control player. Both of them were piloting the Lurrus Demir control decks, but Arnie's is a slightly different version, one that he tweaked from Mistman. His deck is from Mistman. They got first and second place. So really showing you that the Lurrus Demir control deck is quite good in Timeless. It's definitely like top tier and one of the best control decks right now, or the best control deck right now. And I really don't think control has been explored that much in Timeless, so I think there's room to do different things. Maybe Grixis control. Get me some Nico Bolas in there again. Could be good. I love Nico Bolas, so maybe we'll try that out. But yeah, congrats to Mistman, and it was very impressive winning that. I also wanted to look at the most played cards in Timeless Bowmasters. Ugh. Everyone's playing that. That's pretty annoying. Fatal Push, Deathrite Shaman, Lightning Bolt, and Ragavan. Um, yeah, all the broken cards, especially Deathrite Shaman, Ragavan, both pretty annoying, pretty good. Bolt is actually just okay. I guess when you're playing a burn player, it's annoying. Otherwise, it's just a removal spell. And it's not that great. Um, yeah, moving on. We have Reed Duke. He played in the Creator Clash. And this was his deck, this Grixis deck. I thought that was pretty cool. Grixis control, somewhat control. I don't know if you call it control, but Dragon Rage Channeler, Death Rage Shaman, Lightning Bolt. I think it's a little bit too cute. Like having one Ragavan is like, okay, why? One Snapcaster, one Memory Lapse, Orcish Bowmasters. Those are fine. Expressive Iteration, Expressive Iteration is good. Treasure Clues. Treasure Cruise is pretty good, but you do still run into the problem where you can't Treasure Cruise when they have a Bowmaster on the field. So that's a downside, and it's sorcery speed. So I think this deck could be improved. That's all I'll say. But pretty cool. Reed Duke, awesome player. Love watching him play, and this deck is cool. Next one, this other player, Ornithopter, um, shared their list that they're doing well with on in Timeless. The Rakdos Breach with Tendrils of Agony as the win con. And yeah, it's pretty scary when they get going. I mean, they just kind of infinitely cast spells until they can cast the Tendril or find the Tendril and then cast it and then win the game. So yeah, quite a good deck. Also, they shared this Yawgmoth deck, which I haven't seen this one before. This is a new one. I think it's pretty cool. They're using natural order to get the Creator Hoof or the Yawgmoth or the Atraxa. I don't know, that might be a little bit cute, but Yawgmoth is quite good in Historic. It's one of the best decks, I would say. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a very good Yawgmoth deck in Timeless as well. And maybe this isn't it. I guess the Deathrite Shaman ramps you a little bit, which is cool. But other than that, it doesn't synergize super well. And I don't really know if Natural Order is that worth it. So yeah, I think there could be some ways to improve this. Once Upon a Time makes sense. But otherwise, yeah, probably a few things that could be improved here. And then other decks that are doing well in Timeless, we got this Boros Artifacts deck, which is pretty cool. Springleaf Drum, Retrofuture Foundry, Ragavan, Lightning Bolt. So kind of like the one in Historic, but it's got just a few of the broken cards like Lightning Bolt and Ragavan in there to make it a little bit better. It seems cool. I don't know how good it really is, but it's doing well for them, and it's definitely a cool idea. I like the idea. And then next up is the Dredge deck. The person took it to number 16 on the ladder, so obviously Dredge is quite good. We saw this last week as well, so Dredge is still good in Timeless and Historic with almost no card change. Um, so Dredge is good. You can play Dredge if you like Dredge. And then finally, we got one Alchemy deck. This is a blue-white deck, and this person hit Mythic, number 1 Mythic actually, with this blue-white deck, which is a very interesting deck. It's not even, I don't even know if there's an Alchemy card in here. Birthday Escape, maybe? Oh, I guess I don't know what Tanos Endures is, so maybe that's also Alchemy. But most of this is just standard legal. I wonder if, maybe it's possible that this deck could be played in standard and do quite well as well. Not just alchemy. Maybe. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this metagame update. Hope you're still having fun. I hope if you haven't tried Timeless, I know some people in the poll said they're not that into it, or maybe they a little bit miffed that it costs so much. But I will say it's very fun, and it's about the only like new format right now. So if you're a little bit bored with standard, it's very, very fun. And it reminds me of Historic when it first came out. It was like pretty much the Wild West. People are trying new things. They don't know what's going to work. You get to play all the broken cards, and like there's so many broken cards that different decks all kind of work. I don't know. I'm having a lot of fun. I do think it's a little stupid that Lightning Bolt is rare and things like that are rare. That's Wizards being greedy for sure. But other than that, I think it's pretty cool. All right, rant over. That's it for today. Hope you go out there, have some fun. Till next time. See ya.